tumakas. Pwede ka ba buksan dito?
Hi everyone!
Hello!
Hi, there.
Hello! Hello!
Hi.
Hi!
For joining, guys.
Hello, everyone!
Welcome
Hello!
to Live Talks.
Hello, everyone! Hi, everyone! Hello! Hi, Ida. And yeah. Hi!
So many. Hi, Aida, Asta, Lana, Nakis. Oh,
Asta
I want
is
to
with
introduce
us.
Nakis. Nakis is, it's her first time to be here.
Welcome!
Welcome!
Jazira is here. Hello! Hello, welcome. Welcome. Welcome! Yanni. How are you? Hi, Sultanat! Sultanat and
Hi,
Sarah is here also. Yeah.
yeah, also Beck is here. Connecting there. Hi, Beck.
Hello, as well.
Okay.
Hi, Masha. Masha.
Masha.
Nagis. Hello.
Nice to see you
Hello.
again.
Jadi Karat. Masha. And Aida is there. Jera. Hi. Beck. Привет. Welcome. Привет. Welcome.
Yes, let's say everyone.
Nargis.
Hi, Enoch. Nice to meet you. If everybody's video is turned off. No, not everyone, but
Sultanat.
okay, thank you for joining today's live talk. I want to just share to everyone that today is very special because we invited a very special guest. Can everybody hear me?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
All right. So today our guest speaker, I want to introduce him to you. In the advert you saw, his name is Jayson. He's a top-ranked motivational speaker. He's a best-selling author and an entrepreneur. In a decade time, 10 years, he did over 2,000 talks. So if you do the math, that's like 200 days in a year that he's booked for a talk. So that's how much he is wanted and sought after in the Philippines. He has a best-selling book. It's called Unique. It talks about understanding others by understanding you. His calling in life is to have a positive impact and change life for his audiences. His talks vary from different topics, from personality development to finance, and from leadership to sales. So I'm sure you will learn a lot of things from this man. I myself have benefited a lot from his talks. I've known him since 2007, and my wife and I are privileged to know him and his wife personally. And I even know some of his secrets because he's one of my loyal patients in my dental practice. And more than that, he's a very dear friend. He's an excellent mentor. I really look up to him. He's married with his beautiful wife, Kat, and having two adorable children, Gabby and Alexa. So all of us, we are privileged to hear from this man. Let me welcome Mr. Jayson Law.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me, Doc Boo and Coach Laika. It's a privilege to see everyone here. And I haven't found a replacement for Doc Boo. A new dentist, but hopefully I find one soon, unless he will visit back here. And I forgot to fix my hair a while ago, but my daughter told me, my 10-year-old daughter told me, Dad, you look like one of the Beatles. So I put wax on my hair a little bit. And I'm excited because I will be speaking, sharing about something that I'm passionate teaching, and I've written a number of books on the topic, and that is going to be about people. So just like Doc Boo mentioned, I am a speaker and I do presentations. This is what I actually do for a living. So I do talks on motivation, personal development. In this session, I did a talk for 200 or 300 policemen on the topic personal finance. Before the lockdown, I did one for firemen and soldiers, and I taught them about business 101 because I had businesses also before, and I had some success, but I also had lots of failures. This is one for a bank in a conference, and here's another one for an event. I was supposed to speak for this same group today, but just like most people, all jobs now are canceled, events are canceled. So I'm transitioning everything I'm doing now online. So in the next few weeks, months, I will be doing some programs online, online courses on finance and also on this topic unique. I think we won't be having any translators, interpreters anymore.
Yeah, no need.
Okay, so fantastic. Later on, I'll ask everyone. By the way, this is my social media handles. I'm on Facebook and YouTube and also on Instagram. And I have some questions. Of course, we don't have to stand up anymore. Okay. I'm also a certified coach in several disciplines. One of them is in Strengths Finder. It is from Gallup in the US, one of the biggest and longest running research companies in the world. So just for fun, I want everyone to just raise your hand. I have a couple of questions here. Here's one. The first, or you can use the reaction emoji. Okay? So you may raise your hand or give me a thumbs up if you are the person, a person who talks to people in elevators, airplanes, grocery stores, and wherever you go. If this is you, can you give a thumbs up? Okay? I can see some thumbs, or raise your hand if you don't know how to use the emoji. Okay? Good. Here's another question. Raise your hand if you have a color-coded or otherwise organized closet. If this is you, okay. Coach Ai gave a thumbs up. Okay, don't be shy. Lani gave a thumbs up. Sha also gave a thumbs up. Next, if you are the kind of person who writes down a list of things to do and stick to it. Remember, there's a follow-up, you stick to it. Okay? Show me your hands, thumbs up. Okay? Next question, if you write or make a list of things to do even on weekends. If this is you, again, give me a thumbs up. And then, I saw your thumbs up, Weena. And then, if you need to pick on someone to race while driving, or if you don't drive, if you are someone who is very competitive. Let's say you're walking, you're in the mall, and you see someone walking faster, you try to outwalk that person. If this is you, give me a thumbs up. Don't be shy. Be honest. Okay, you see those set of questions. And, oh, by the way, here's another one. If you're the type who asks too many questions, can you give a thumbs up again? Or raise your hand. You ask too many questions? Okay? And I think I have one more here. If you push the elevator button to remind the elevator that you are there. For me, every time I would go out of the car, I would press the alarm several times just to make sure that the doors are closed. So you see, some of you gave a thumbs up, raise your hand. Some of you didn't in the number of questions, which shows us that people are different. Would you agree that everyone is different? Here's the good news. Even though we are all different, we are predictably different. We are predictably different. It means that we can predict people's behavior and their personality based on how they will react or how they will behave. And that is what we are going to talk about today. Okay? That's my wife over there. And me and my wife, we are very different from each other. And that is the beauty of our relationship as well. Because as different as we are from each other, we actually understand each other's preferences. We understand each other's likes, and we understand and accept that we are definitely different from each other. So I'm going to be sharing 4 different kinds of personalities right now. Okay? And as I share the different personality types, just for a moment, I'm having a little technical difficulty right now. There's something not working with my slides. Please excuse me. As I speak about the personalities for our session, I would be sharing 4 different kinds of people. And the first time I heard about these 4 types of people, they really blew me away. They blew me away because it was, in a way, life changing. And in a way, it showed me the different side of people that most of us are not even aware of. But once you discover them, you will understand why it's important for us to know these personality types. Okay? There you go. Wait. Why is my other slide? I'm trying to show you a different slide, but that one is the one being shared. So the 4 different kinds of people, I used animals to represent each one to make it much easier for us to understand who they are. They are the eagle, the dominant eagle, and then another is a rooster. Roosters are those people who loves different kinds of people, the different people that they would meet. And then the next one is the steady carabao, those who are more reserved and those who are more stable. In a way, they would think first before they do something or anything for that matter. And the last one is called a corrective tarsier. So the tarsiers, they are the analytical bunch. And these people, they just love to analyze and to check things out and to be able to see first how they will measure or how they will understand situations before they even do anything. Okay? Can you please excuse these slides? I'm going to be sharing a little bit seems like I can't access my original slides. So let's just skip these. Sorry. There you go. This is the book I wrote. Please don't mistake the guy in the middle as an animal. That's me. And the black caricature, the one wearing the suit, is the dominant eagle. Look at him. He's looking at his watch, because for them, time is not just gold. Time is everything. The rooster wants to be the main attraction, the steady carabao. If you're familiar with the Hawaiian shirt, which is a symbol of being relaxed and just chill, and then the tarsier that loves information and loves to analyze. So here's a closer look at the 4 personalities. The book I wrote is entitled Unique. Instead of UNIQUE, it's YOUNIQUE, understanding others by understanding you. So if you see this, what phrase do you see? Some people, they would read this as I am nowhere. Some people will see this as I am now here. So same phrase, different perspective. Okay, some, I am nowhere, they are lost. For some, they have arrived. Same way with people, we see things differently because of who we are, because of our personality. So let's say you get time and you have time for vacation. For some, they may feel it's a waste of time because they want to work. For some, it's a chance for them to plan and to research the internet, what are things that they can do in that vacation. For some, they will just relax and let the other person do all the planning. And same scenario, different perspective. Like this rhino, he's painting, but you can see his tusk everywhere in the painting, in all of the paintings, because we actually are the things that we see, but the things that we see, most of that belongs or comes from who we are, our personality. Now, if I show you this, what image do you see? Okay? If you see an image of an old lady, can you give me a thumbs up? If you see an image of an old lady, can you give me a thumbs up? Okay? There, you got one. How about the others? Yeah? Doc Boo, give me a thumbs up. How about those who saw an image of a young lady? Can you give me a thumbs up? Young lady, good. Yadikar, I hope I pronounced your name right. Okay, Masha, Beck also gave a thumbs up. This is an example of a parallel image or an optical illusion. Some of you may have seen this. Old lady. Can you see it now? Most of you actually saw this. A picture of a young lady. If you combine both, this is what it looks like. Let's use the colored version. A picture of an old lady and a young lady combined. Can you see it now? So it means that all of us, we may have a perspective of that of an old lady. I'm not saying that you're old, okay? This is not in relation to your age. Some of us may have a perspective of a young lady. So we see two different things, but it doesn't mean that if the other person is seeing something different from yours, it means that that person is wrong. That person is not wrong because that person is seeing something or seeing a different view or a different angle. And if we understand this, we will be more empathetic. We will actually learn how to put ourselves in other people's shoes, or to put yourself in other people's shoes, which means that we can understand because we are putting ourselves in that person's position. Okay? So become who you are by knowing who you are. We actually provide a test. In the sessions and in the seminars, there is a test there for you to understand who you are, your strengths and your weaknesses. And we will discuss that also. This is a picture of a Belgian draft horse. And it's interesting because a Belgian draft horse is one of the most powerful animals around. In fact, one Belgian draft horse can pull up to around 8,000 pounds. It can pull around two horses. It's very strong. And if you combine it with another Belgian draft horse, 8,000 plus 8,000 is 16,000. But the two now builds on each other. Now they can pull up to around 24,000 pounds. So 1 plus 1 is not equal to 2. If you combine them, they can do more. But if they are trained together and they live together, they will learn how to pull as one. Two trained Belgian draft horses can actually pull up to around 34,000 pounds. So that is the concept of synergy. In synergy, 1 plus 1 can be equal to 3, 5, 10, 100, 5,000 or more depending on the bond of the group. So in other words, if you have a dream, yesterday I had a webinar, the session, topic was about breaking through in the crisis. And one part there is about vision. So if you have a vision or a dream and you can achieve it on your own, then it means that your dream is not big enough. Because in order for you to do something that is significant, you need the help of others. So in a way, this program will teach you how to involve others in your life intentionally and strategically by understanding them. So this is the DISC personalities. This is not something that I came up with. This has been a study since the 1920s, and it's being used all over the world. Again, D stands for dominant, I stands for influential, S stands for steady, and C stands for corrective. So dominant eagle, influential rooster, steady carabao, and corrective tarsier. By the way, if you're not familiar with the tarsier, mostly you can see them in Asia. They have big eyes and they can move their head 180 degrees to the left or to the right. Okay? So that's how analytical these creatures are. So let's start with the first one. Okay? The dominant eagle. I use the Philippine eagle because it's the national bird in the Philippines. And the dominant eagle are those people who make things happen. If there is a wall in front of them and they need to get to the other side, they will look for a way to either smash through that door. If they can't, they will try to look for a way to go around it, go over it, or go under it. Because for them, nothing may seem impossible. These people love to make things happen and they are action-oriented. They love challenges. They will do whatever it takes. The problem or the weakness of these people is that they can be overly aggressive. So they can be brash, tactless, and they're not too concerned with people's feelings. They will say it to you out loud and speak their mind. My daughter is actually a dominant eagle. I have two kids. This is my a 10-year-old and my 11-year-old turning 12. But in this picture, they were just 5 and 4. So my daughter, Gabby, would ask me, and this is part of my story, we lost everything in our business. We were bankrupt. And my daughter saw an ad of Disneyland. And she was asking me, Daddy, can we go to Disneyland? But I told her that we needed to raise money, save money, and we need to pray about it. But she kept insisting that she wanted to go to Disneyland. And because of her persistence, even though we were low in finances, we were able to do it on her 5th birthday. So this is them, and we even went to Disney Hotel. So they went to this parlor that actually cost more than our plane tickets going there. But my daughter is such a dominant that she found sponsors a sponsor to pay for the salon, and those are dominant that's partly what a dominant eagle is. These are their strengths and weaknesses. So they take charge and control. They get things done. They make quick decisions. They solve practical problems, and they're one of the most hardworking, if not the most hardworking, compared to the other personalities. Some of them can do 3, 5, 10 jobs of people. That's why they can also burn out. So their weaknesses: strong personality, a compulsive need for change, and they have little need for friends. If you have friends who would message you or contact you every time they just need something from you, chances are the personality might be a dominant ego. They're not users, don't get me wrong. It's just because they are too focused on job or a task. They're task oriented. So they overlook risks and cautions. They take on too much. If you want an amplified example of the dominant eagle, if you follow politics, President Trump of the US is actually a very high dominant eagle. In the Philippines, our President Duterte, is also a very high dominant eagle. Okay? So, they are what you call the doers. They're always business-like. And for them, time is not just gold. Time is everything. They don't want to waste time. They are seldom late. Next up are the influential roosters. So the influential roosters, because a rooster crows every time, it's a myth that roosters crow just in the morning. They actually crow any time of the day. And influentials are similar to them because influential roosters, they love attention. They love people. They love the spotlight. If you notice the jacket he's wearing, it's full of stars because influentials, they want to be the lead, and they don't just go to a party, they are the party. So influentials love people, and hopefully people love them also. They can talk to anyone. There's no stranger to them. A stranger is just a friend that is a friend they haven't met yet. And they are innovative, full of creativity, and they can bring people together. That's why it's very interesting. If you find them, they usually are welcoming, they're smiling, and they also are accommodating. And if they give speeches, you will also be inspired by them. This is my good friend. His name is Erickson Raimundo. He actually was a nurse, but he had the dream to be in the talent industry, in the showbiz industry. And today, even though his background is a nurse, now he manages top artists and manages more than 100 artists already. How was he able to do it? Because he was able to bring people together and because of his charm and the way he handles people. But the weakness for the influential rooster, which is a weakness also of Erickson. So these are the strengths before we go to the weaknesses. They are optimistic. The future looks so bright, they have to wear shades to cover their eyes. They're a people person, entertaining. They can be very funny, full of energy, enthusiastic, and they are fun to be with. Weakness, they talk too much. Another weakness is a Peter Pan syndrome. Peter Pan is a character who never gets old. So they can be immature. They're hungry for approval, lacks follow through because they are forgetful. So if they go somewhere, they go to a mall, they would park in basement 1, but they will try to look for their car in basement 3. So they are forgetful. And if they say something, the next thing, they forgot about it already. So when you are dealing with these people, always put it on paper. and they act impulsively. They're very emotional. I also connect this with money. When it comes to money, influential roosters, the very high in the score of influential can be, they are not so good with money. So they would splurge because they are emotional, as I mentioned. They overcommit and they exaggerate. They're very good with words, very good with people, so they can use that to motivate or use it to manipulate. These are the toppers,
Yun nga,
the influential
sa laptop,
rooster.
nag-register naman ako. Tapos
Okay?
ako.
If you have
Sabi ko sa
any
kanya,
questions or comments, by the way,
Ayun
you
nga,
can
sabi ko sa
put
kanya.
it on the chat box,
Tapos,
and
Wala,
we'll be answering them in a while. Two more personalities before we move. The steady Carabao. Carabaos are a symbol of reliability and stability. Okay? And the steady Carabao fits that bill because for the steady Carabao, they're just relaxed. They're in a different space or different plane. I know my brother-in-law, his name is Charles. He is so steady. My wife is also steady. I don't know if there's any connection because they're siblings. But when you talk to them, they don't get overly excited and they just remain calm no matter what's happening. I remember my mother-in-law needed to go to the hospital, and Charles, my brother-in-law, was just so calm, even though my mother-in-law can't breathe anymore. And she said, Charles, I need to go to the hospital right now. And we're just looking at her and still steady, as if everything is normal. But the steady Carabaos, what you love about them is they are consistent. They would do the job given to them, and they are stable. They're good with organizing, they're good with process, and they are usually the ones who lasts in a job. And there is a statistic that 85% of people get fired from jobs not because they don't know what to do or they're incompetent, but it's because of poor attitude. An S or a steady has that advantage over others in terms of stable employment. So their strengths, by the way, this is my wife, and that's me. 15 years ago, I got married when I was 5. No. I'm 42 right now, and I got married at 25. So in 17 years of marriage, I only saw my wife. I've seen my wife hurry just twice in 17 years of marriage. Okay? So it's good also because we're the opposite. The steady personality, steady Carabao, they're easygoing, they're loyal. They're the most loyal out of all the personality types. They love forwarded messages that's sentimental. And they're very patient. Okay? And they finish a job once they get into it. Unlike the dominant, if they get impatient, they will move to the next job or project. But not for the steady. They have followed through. They can be good listeners, so they are the best counselors and builds lasting relationship. Unlike the influential who builds short-term relationships fast, steady Carabaos, they're slower in building relationships, but it's much deeper. Weakness, they're tolerant, they don't show their emotions, and they resist change. They can be stubborn. And steady Carabaos can be conforming, even if they don't agree with you. Out from on the outside, they would just conform and looks like they're agreeing, but on the inside, they're not. So they use passive aggressive strategies. In other words, if their boss tells them, okay, do this job, on the outside they would agree, yes boss, but on the inside they would say, okay, in 100 years. So they just won't show it to you. They procrastinate and they're indecisive. It's difficult for them to make, especially big decisions or important decisions. So those are the strengths and weaknesses of a steady Carabao, and they are called the watchers. They're also the peacemakers in a group. Last but not the least are the tarsiers. Look at that. That's a tarsier. With the big eyes, they get stressed easily. In fact, there is a law today that you cannot touch a tarsier. So please disregard that picture over there because they can die if someone touches them. They get stressed out. A corrective tarsier is similar in such a way that they can overthink and think and think and think that they are paralyzed by their thinking. You call that analysis paralysis. But the corrective tarsiers, they're the best thinkers. Usually, they are the architects, engineers, accountants, doctors, because they're analytical and they love information. They love the Excel file, they love numbers and statistics. This is my good friend. His name is Richard. He's a singer. And Maricar is his wife, who is an actress. And Richard is a very high corrective tarsier. He released, I think by now, around 8 albums. His music, his songs, he would record some of them. Not singing song per song, but he's so analytical that he would sing them line for line and try to connect all of those lines to form one song. And that is also why he's one of the top selling and most sought after singer in our country. So the corrective tarsier, strengths and weaknesses, they're competent, orderly. Usually they want order. Monday, MWF, Monday, Wednesday, Friday, I'm going to wear color, top, plain below, and then TTHS, you'll interchange that. And Monday, this is what I do. Tuesday, this. So they want to plan out everything. They're self-disciplined, one of the values, the strengths of a corrective tarsier. And they're thinkers, they're accurate also, and analytical. If you have a question that you want answered, you can go to these people. But be careful because these people can also come off as a bit negative because they see things that other people don't see. So most of us, we only see 2D. Them, they can look at things on a 3D or 4D perspective. So they're accurate, analytical, organized, and they are sensitive to other people's insights and feelings. Weaknesses is analysis paralysis. They can be overly pessimistic, gloomy, another word for that is moody, and suspicious because they don't trust others immediately. They want proof. Too detail-oriented, naively idealistic, and they are the ones most susceptible to depression because they would think and think of things that they don't need to think about anymore and it affects them. They can be trapped in their own mind. But if they free themselves from their mind, they can accomplish a lot of things. So these are the thinkers because they love to think and they love to analyze and to look at things using a lens that goes deeper than normal. So those are the 4 personality types, and there you go. I've actually thought about a leader on a leadership level, sales, also in church. And I'm planning to write a book about the unique money styles, how they manage their money, and also one that talks about sales. So far, I've written 3. So this is unique, the first book. The second one is called Unique Youth for students. And then the third unique book I wrote is Uniquely in Love. This is for those who are in relationships. Okay, so I think that concludes my presentation. I only have limited time, so I can just discuss. We were supposed to have a discussion of how long? 5 hours. But Doc Boo said, let's just shorten it to 30 minutes, okay, to give room for any questions and concerns. I hope you guys learned from our short session.
Thank you very much. Let's give hand for Mr. Jayson Law.
Thank you.
I never get tired of listening to you. I even got my unique workbook with me with me here in Kazakhstan. And we also has a book.
Oh, that's the old version.
Yeah, I just want to agree with it's very helpful for our relationships, for our friendships, especially with your family. Me and my wife, this helped us a lot with how we deal with our friends, with our marriage, and I hope we can go through with booklets. With some of you, if you guys are interested, please let us know. We can assist you in doing the test, so you would know what your personalities are. And so today we're going. Mr. Jayson Law prepared some questions, right? Discussion questions. But before that, do you guys have any question that you want to ask our guest speaker this afternoon?
Go ahead if you have any questions.
Okay.
Please feel free.
Okay.
You can put it in the chat box or share here. Go ahead.
From the E Plus coaches, do you have any questions?
I want to ask. One question.
Oh yes, that's JR, right?
So, ano ba, what makes it different? Or, I'm sorry. There are songs I call parang other personality tests I've encountered. For example, sanguine, melancholic, phlegmatic, and choleric. I think bipolar. So, is there any different, or are they different?
The work of the choleric, the phlegmatic, the four temperaments, it's from the same branch, but the concern with understanding the temperaments or the personality types is that once you know it already. So it looks deceptively simple, but the application is really vast. In fact, before the lockdown, 1 week before the lockdown, I did a session for a group. They were like 30 in the group, and more than half know the temperaments already. So they were expecting that the session will be just short, but we started at 10 in the morning. We ended at 7:30 in the evening. And after the session, they posted that they learned so much more, that it's not that simple because you can actually go deeper. So in a way, what I'm trying to do is to go deeper in the four personality types, especially in certain areas of our lives, and how we can also make it practical.
Do we have another
What would
question?
your personality be? From if you've taken the temperaments before, what are you from the four?
So, me, I'm melancholic and mix of phlegmatic.
Okay, so from what I discussed, JR said that is partly a corrective, the tarsier, and partly the carabao, the steady. So you can also be a combination of two. There are people who's a combination of the three, but if you're a combination of the four, everything is balanced. You have to take the test again. Doc Bu, you were saying something before.
Yeah, there are questions posted in the chat group. Can a person have two kind of personalities? But you've already answered that. The next question is, do you meet a lot of mixed personalities, and is it okay? Personality, can it change by age or the life situations?
Yeah. Just to be clear, what I'm talking about here is more on our behavioral styles as well. I said that in my book because a personality is much vaster. It's really vast in a sense that it includes our birth order. So let's say you are the eldest in the family, you're the youngest, and usually the middle child, usually but not all the time, is the most difficult because he tries to be the bridge of the family. It also includes the school that you went to, your pedigree, your background, your social status. That's a personality. So what we're talking right now are behaviors in such a way that we can predict the behaviors of people. And yes, we get to meet all the types of people. In fact, if you watch a movie right now, you will recognize the different personality types in the movie. If you read the book, you will have a clue what personality the author is among the four. If you talk to your friends, your parents, your children, if you're married, your siblings, they also fall under these four personality types. So the beauty about it is if you know their personality, you can actually adjust to them. I will give you an example. I am not an influential rooster. If when I took the test, my influential rooster is close to zero, I am not a rooster. And Doc Bu saw me in speaking on stage, and if we are not friends, he wouldn't have guessed that I'm not an influential because when I'm speaking on stage, I look so influential because I need it for my job. But once I step down the stage, that's the time when I revert to my original because you can borrow from the different strengths. But at the end of the day, you have to go back to who you are because you'll be frustrated trying to be someone you are not. So in certain situations, try to use the other strengths, but remain the same. Your values are still intact. I hope that made sense.
That's a very interesting answer, Sir Jason. Uh, so that I think that's one thing that I would observe on my end, like how I relate to people, how I work with them. That certain personalities or strengths can be borrowed, even though you're not really that person in reality. It's just that for a certain scenario or situation, you needed that strength, and so you have to borrow. We can borrow from certain people. Thanks for that.
Right. That's a concept of dialing up and dialing down. So it means that this is our DISC, and sometimes our level is higher in one category than the other, but sometimes you can bring it down or up. But you have to go back to who you are so that you can be your natural self. You can be your natural self. So thank you, Becky, for that question. I'm sorry I cannot. Maybe you can read the name of the person who asked the latest question. I'd like to ask if this affect on someone's negative behaviors in a relationship. Who asked that question?
That's
I get him. I get him.
Oh, Gary. I hope I pronounced that right. Thank you for that question. If we can affect someone's negative behaviors, yes, can affect. That's why if you are aware of the four types, now you can adjust to them. So let's say you're talking to a dominant. Dominants, usually they want it straight. They don't want anyone to beat around the bush. If you want to say something, you have to say it straight and not go round and round and round before you get to your point. Sometimes people get offended by them because they have a strong personality. So if you know that the person is like that, then you can go straight to the point and try to match their try to match their personality. Okay? Because if you don't, this person might be put off because you're not speaking their language. So it's a matter of speaking their language so that you can connect to them. And my wife actually was a very high influential rooster when she was young. But her dad was very, very strict. He was very, very strict. And she had this negative experience wherein her dad caught her going to their neighbor, which he prohibited. And because of that, her dad put her in a dog cage for one night. Just imagine how traumatic that was for her. And because of that experience, my wife became a steady. It became her personality mask. So her personality was affected because of their family. So if you're a parent, the best thing you can do for your children is to accept them for who they are and don't compare them to others. And that personality that they have, you try to empower them even more with that personality. Good question so far? You have any others?
I have a question. Yes,
Hey, Enoch?
yes, sir. Yeah. I want
Go
to
ahead.
ask. We talk about entrepreneurs. Um, what personality makes entrepreneurs? Who create
What?
business? Entrepreneurs. What
Yeah.
personality makes entrepreneurs?
Oh, for entrepreneurs, they have different personalities. Usually, most entrepreneurs are dominant because dominants are pioneers. They start businesses and they are not afraid to take risks. But you can also see a great number of influentials, steadies, correctives who are business people. Are you familiar with Donald Trump?
Yes,
Donald
yes,
Trump is the president of the U.S., right? But he's
yes,
also an entrepreneur. He's a business tycoon. He failed many, many
yes.
times. I read his book more than a decade ago, and he was with a friend, and he pointed to a beggar. He told his friend, "You know that beggar is richer than me because he lost his business and he owed hundreds of millions." And he said that beggar is hundreds of millions richer than him. But this guy is a force of nature, so he recouped his investment and his loss in their business, and after 1 or 2 years was back up again in the game. Um, Influential rooster, a good example would be, are you familiar with Oprah Winfrey?
Yes.
So Oprah Winfrey is an influential rooster and she's a very good talk show host. But I believe she's also a combination of dominant, Oprah Winfrey. A steady Carabao entrepreneur would be, if you're familiar with Warren Buffett. Warren Buffett is one of the richest men in the world. He was actually the richest man in the world before he started giving his wealth away. He's a philanthropist. So Warren Buffett, he teaches investing and teaches people how to invest and hold your investments so that you can make more money. Do not be impatient. And for a corrective tarsier, everyone knows Bill Gates. So Bill Gates is a corrective tarsier. He's very analytical. That's why his company also started products that didn't exist before because he's far way ahead and analyzes situations, scenarios before they even happen. Did I answer your question, Enoch?
Yes, thank you very much.
By the way, are you an entrepreneur or planning to be one?
I want to do one.
Okay, fantastic, fantastic. We have a question from Aida. Aida Osman. I have a lot of friends, some of them very selfish. Okay. They want to do only the things that they want. So how do you deal with them? Yeah, all of us, we have selfish friends. Sometimes we can be selfish. That's why it's a matter of understanding that we are all different. So remember, you may see an old lady, but your friend may be seeing a young lady. So the question that you should ask yourself first is, how can I see my friend's perspective before you act on it? And maybe, just maybe, you discover something that you haven't seen before. And with regards to people that we don't understand, we can't understand, sometimes it's just because they are different from us. And I have lots of friends that I can't work with before, but now I realize that it's a matter of miscommunication. I hope I answered your question.
Sir Jason, we have a question. How do we know our personality? And I know there's a test behind it, but how do you suggest for those who don't know their personality yet? How can they know which one are they?
The test gives us the exact measurement. There's a score there. But top of mind, what you can do is you can divide, you can put yourself in a quadrant. So for spaces. So in this quadrant, there are people who are task oriented. Okay, I think this can be our activity. And those who are task oriented, if that's you, can you give me a thumbs up right now if you are task oriented? Good. You have a number. Okay. If you are, again, can you please put your hands up like that, or give me a thumbs up so that I can see? I'm browsing through the other. Okay, good. Now, who are more people-oriented here? Can you please give me a thumbs up? You're more people-oriented. Okay, good. Those who didn't give a thumbs up, maybe you are from another planet. Neither task-oriented nor people-oriented. So if you are task-oriented, now, or people-oriented, keep that in mind. The next question is if you are someone who initiates or someone who is more reserved. Okay? So, who among you here, you can give a thumbs up again. You are more of the initiator. Can you give a thumbs up? Good. How about those who are more reserved? Can you give a thumbs up? Those who are more reserved? Good. Now, if you put these two together, you will have a clue what your personality is. Now, if you are someone who is a task-oriented individual and you are outgoing, you are an initiator, chances are you are a dominant eagle. That may be your highest score. Do you follow? Now, if you are an initiator, but you are people-oriented, you are outgoing, chances are you are an influential booster. Okay? Sorry, I can't show you the slide because I'm using my wife's laptop. The files are in my other laptop. The third, if you are reserved, you are more of the thinker, okay, and then you are reserved, but you are a people person, chances are you are a steady Carabao. Okay? You are a steady Carabao. And then the fourth, if you are more of a thinker and you're, in a way, I'm not saying slower here, but slow in terms of you want to analyze, you want to think, you want to, you're more of an introvert, and then you are task oriented, chances are you are the fourth one, which is a corrective tarsier. Are you following? Okay, so in the chat box, from what I have described, can you post the personalities which you feel is you? In the chat box, can you put the personality? What are you? Are you a dominant, an influential, a steady, or a corrective? Based on the description I gave you. Okay? Coach Boo says he's a corrective. Miss Maylie, corrective maybe. Miss Jeremy, based on that steady Carabao. Okay. Miss Shane, steady. Miss Laika, steady. Miss Paiwa, steady. Good. JR, what's this? A lying Carabao? Oh, handsome Carabao. I thought lying Carabao. Okay, who else? Let's wait for the others. Yeah, Mr. Enoch, influential. There's a good chance that you are, my friend, because you asked a question. It means that you're not shy, because influentials are rarely shy. Miss Weena, corrective. Miss Becky, rooster. Good. Miss Sha, corrective, but before using the test, my top is steady. Maybe you're a combination of corrective and steady. So it fluctuates. Am, steady. Enlik, steady. Dominant, more steady and dominant. Good? So now that you have an idea what you are, you can observe what maybe that can be your homework. You can choose 3 people, and among these 3 people, you can you try determining or guessing what their personality is. From there, you will have an idea how to be able, and I think Doc Boo will be discussing this with you in the future using the AAA model. The AAA model stands for aware, accept, and adapt. Aware, accept, and adapt. So if I meet you in person, let's say I meet Enoch in person or JR in person, I won't talk to them the same way. I will approach them differently because they are different. Right? So, I am assuming that most of you here are single, but are there any married here in the group? Can you give a thumbs up again if you're married? Okay. Coach Boo is not giving a thumbs up, so I think Coach Laika's gonna be angry with him after this. Okay, if you're married and you have several kids, let's say I have 2 kids. I have 2 kids, and I love my 2 kids equally. I will give my life to them without even batting an eyelash. I love them equally. Usually I ask parents the same question and they would answer the same way, even if it's not true. But the second question I ask them is this: who among you treat your children equally? All of them would say yes again. They treat their children equally. I would tell them that's wrong. Because the first one, love your children equally, that's right. But the second, you should treat them differently. Why? Because they are different from each other. So in essence, we should learn how to treat people. The golden rule, the way you want to be treated, that's good for universal principles like love, joy, peace, kindness. But when it comes to people, we should move a different direction. It's not the golden rule. I call it the unique rule. I borrowed this from the platinum rule actually and tweaked it a little bit. The unique rule says that we should treat others the way they want to be treated, not the way you want to be treated. Because the way they want to be treated may be different from the way you want to be treated. Make sense? Islana said, more influential. Does the personality come with DNA? How can I work on my weaknesses? I think that can be another session. But because in working, when you say weaknesses, I'm also a strengths coach. I mentioned this from Gallup. I'm a strengths finder coach as well. I'm a certified coach, and what we teach there is for people to focus on their strengths, not on their weaknesses. Okay? So as an influential, better for you to focus and work on your strengths, and for your weaknesses, you just manage them. You just manage them. Unless those weaknesses affect others. Okay? So for example, influentials, one weakness is they're usually late for meetings. They're usually late for gatherings. Because they're so active and they tend to forget and they got tied up by another meeting. So that's not an excuse. No matter what your personality is, you should always be on time. So that's a weakness that you should work on. But an influential is also not so good with details. So influentials, they hate details. You can ask them what the color of the sky is, but if you ask them how much was the cost for an event, then it will be a nightmare for you. In fact, you can ask an influential to host an event, but do not ask an influential to organize an event because they will have fun, but you won't. So, given that, you look for people whose strengths is in the management side or in the side of administration. Look for others whose strengths are your weaknesses so that you can manage them. Yes, we now focus on your strength and manage your weaknesses. Unique rule. Treat others the way they want to be treated. Yeah. Good. I hope I was able to answer your questions. And I hope I'm not speaking too fast. Coach Boo.
Thank you. Thank you. We learned a lot, Sir Jayson. And yeah, I think this will really help everybody with our friends, with our relationships, even with our career, our job. I want what you said earlier about if you can accomplish your dream by your own, then your dream is not enough. And I hope that would inspire everybody to dream higher and to treat others how they want to be treated. And I like the homework, Sir Jayson, like to kind of assess our friends, what their personalities are, and we can actually make an experiment on how to treat them the way they want to be treated. And I'm sure if we do that, we're acting in a way that is loving and not selfish. Because if we just want people to be treated, if we want people, if we treat people just how we want to be treated, then our friendship will not really grow. Right? So we are going to have our breakout session, or do we still have time, Coach Ami? Oh, okay. I think we occupied the time for our breakout session. So we had question and answer instead, and everybody was able to practice their English by giving questions and learning a lot. So that's what we do in life talks. We don't just practice English, but we talk about life and things that would add value to us. So for our announcement, Coach Amy will announce something about language exchange. I actually thought of, if you guys are interested in learning your personalities, we have workbooks and we can help you actually discover your personalities. And we can do that by also exchanging our languages, because this is in English. There are a lot of words that would describe personalities, so you would know what your personalities are. So we could share in a language exchange program. So we can go through this together, and we would learn the Russian language, Russian words, and then you would know the English words. So thank you very much, Coach Jayson. Amy, do you still have anything to announce?
We're good. Well, if you're interested to join our language exchange, please do fill up the survey form that's in our WhatsApp group, so that we would know who to contact. Thank you once again, Sir Jayson, for that insightful talk. And thank you everyone as well for making time and joining us this afternoon. We hope to learn more about what was shared to us today, hopefully through our language exchange. So, see you next week, everyone, for our...
Someone's asking for a group photo.
Oh, okay. Oh, let's have a group photo before we leave.
Right. Could you turn on your...
Okay, who will take the photo?
Okay.
I can do it if you could all turn on your video feature, please.
Okay.
Everyone, say cheese, smile. 1, 2, 3. Next page, we have two page actually. It won't fit in one screen. Next screen, everyone smile again. 1, 2, 3. All right.
Hey, thank you,
Yes,
everyone.
good. Thank you.
By the way, if you want to know more about Unique, you can follow me on my social media handles. I'm active on Facebook. That's Jayson Lo, Jaysonlo. Also on Instagram, and I'm also on LinkedIn. So pretty much everywhere. And if you have any questions, just ask me also. I can be of service to you guys. Just mention that you're from here, because I get a number of inquiries every day.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sir
Thank you,
Jayson.
Sir Jayson.
Thank you.
Thank you. Sir Jayson, thank you.
Very welcome.
Everyone for joining us this afternoon.
See you guys again next week.
See you next. Bye-bye. Paka. Thank you po. Thank you po. Thank you po. Thank you po. Thank you po.
Sid Benaya.
Thank you, sis.
Say hello, Ben. Hello, Ben.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us.
Come back.
We will discuss this more